Well, hey there, good evening, everyone. I'm back officially for what it matters, for what it's worth. Carpo, coming at you from the back room in the garage on, let's see, what is it? February, I don't know, 4th or 5th or 6th, I don't know, 2016, I guess it is. And, I just thought I'd, come on board, grab the camera again, kind of get back used to making videos. I thought I really was kind of lose my inspiration to make them. I made one yesterday, but I thought, I've got so many things going on in my life, and life is such a busy thing, and it's hard to find time to make videos. I know people in the past thought that, it's something that I just do all the time and spend this time editing, or people are like, do you even watch your videos before you upload them? Because I might say something that, I don't mean or I shouldn't. I'm like, no, I actually have never proof watched a single video before I uploaded it. Except for, no, I don't really recall ever. Except for the ones that I edit as I'm making them for, the ones that I wanted to be professional. But I just wanted to get that across to say that even though my videos are choppy and raw and it's just me rambling and sometimes they don't all make sense, all the points that I try to convey are important points, that I think are important at least. Not always, but, come on, be fair. I mean, we're human. What do we know? I mean, what's important to me is not going to be as important to you, maybe. That's the point. However, with that said, I think that one thing that we can all agree is important to everyone, and what many philosophers may consider the pinnacle of existence, is happiness. And happiness without gluttony, of course, because, waste and abuse and, overindulgence are the things that have got us into the mess that we're in as a society, in many regards. Yet at the same time, seeing gluttony and working towards that has become a motivational factor in why people work their asses off sometimes. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, is hard work, perseverance, and making money and getting rich in the eyes of society, but not millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire rich. We're talking what's rich in the eye of the beholder. A few years back when I was a carpenter, I was making pretty good money. I was always a really good carpenter, and I worked hard, and I took on finished carpentry as something that was important to me. And I've always taken pride in my work, everywhere I've worked, whether it was a gas station or, I've done some horrible jobs, processing food that's been returned from, sorry, I'm going to turn this fan off because I know fans can be annoying. Processing food that had been damaged goods that sat around that had bugs and shit in them. I mean, I was a roofer for a while, and every time I had a job, I took it on, and what was important to me was to do the best job no matter what I'm doing. Every boss I ever had said I was a hard worker, except one hillbilly guy who transferred into the roofing thing, and he got all pissed off because I didn't agree with his political views. So that's another really important point. My views, not only my stubbornness, but my expression of my views and my standpoint that against my right-wing bosses has gotten me maybe not fired, but at least not rehired at least 2 jobs. And that's always been okay with me. I'm very outspoken. I find that to be important too. The message I'm trying to get across today is to speak to those of you who understand that you have. Look, I have 3 kids. One of them is 21, but he's still my son. He's still, I want to be able to take care of him, help him out, as well as my other 2 kids who are 3 and 6, and my wife who has to work her ass off. And everybody wants to contribute to the family, so nobody has to work as hard. So we all want to be part of the solution and help each other out. And as a man, I understand that stigma that's put upon men. Men should be the providers, bring home the bacon. In today's world, we know that it's a little more complicated than that. Sometimes women bring home the bacon. I stay at home with the kids. Now, a person may think, well, you're staying home with the kids, that must be much easier than going to work. But I'm telling you that it's really not. It's the hardest job I've ever had in my life. Harder than roofing and tearing off, shake roofs in the pouring rain. Because when you're doing something like that, you can see the results instantly. The roof doesn't talk back to you. You may have a problem, but if you slip, it's your own fault. When you have children, they're demanding, they're screaming, they want your attention, they want everything. So, while I'm trying to make a living and fulfill my obligations monetarily, I have to also deal with the children. But the children aspect of it, I'm just kind of giving you a round view of what life is like. I have the kids in the background while I'm trying to do paperwork, fill out orders for the botanicals business, which I'm trying to get off the ground, And so here I am wanting to do the right thing and, start a business legitimately and try to help people out, help myself out, make everything work, do something. Of course, like I've talked with the folks in the past, my customers, about what happened with PayPal. They froze my account because they said you can't sell Kratom through them. So that kind of screwed me over, and I got some of my customers to at least use Dwala, but then I had some who were afraid because they wanted the last four of their social, and then I have to explain to them that it's a banking institution. I mean, it's not, it's safe. But anyway, in the meantime, all I can do is accept mail and Dwala. It cut my business completely in half, and then Dwala sends me a letter this week, a couple weeks ago, that said, hey, if you don't change to a business account, then we're going to have to close your account or freeze it. So I told them I'd take care of it, and then today they told me I had to do it, or they froze my account today until I took care of it. So I had to go down and get rid of the paperwork, apply for a business permit, pay the Washington State a whole bunch of money to get my business license, just so I could have a doing business as Carpo's Botanicals. And if I would have just used my name, I should have known better. Using your own name as a company name is much better, but anyway, I'm trying to do all this paperwork and get all this stuff done and do it all right and legitimately, and it's like frustrating because the way that society's set up is, we're hoping that, in other words, as a small business owner, it's one of the most impossible things to deal with. When I was a carpenter, not only could I not get insurance because I made too much, but I didn't make enough to where I could buy my own private insurance. I worked for myself for about 5 years as a finish carpenter, taking odd jobs. I really didn't get as much work as I should have, but for a couple of years there, I made at least 60 grand or 70 grand. Maybe not. I don't even know. I don't think it was that much. No, it was more like 60. It was like probably the best year I ever had, and I worked my butt off, and I did a whole bunch of work, furniture, custom stuff for some other guys, and they ended up, the guys who you're making the stuff for make the real money, and but none of that ever brought me any happiness. Never any happier than just being completely broke. I was never happier when I had more money because I had more money, which is the point I'm getting to is. Money means nothing to me, and I wish it didn't have to be an issue in my life. But the reason why I want to make money in life, the only reason I've ever really wanted to work, is... Let me backtrack a little bit. I love to work, but the only reason I've forced myself to work in, say, jobs or situations I don't want to deal with is because I want to ease the burden on my family. And that's why it's my hope that it's an unselfish thing, that I can do. But then I still find myself being selfish, How many of you have started a new job or something, and your first paycheck you go out and blow it on yourself, thinking, well, I deserve this because, yes, it's my first paycheck. And I think every first paycheck I did that when I was a kid. I remember... after like when my first my job at Round Table Pizza, and I got a paycheck, and I went down and I got like, I don't know, $250 or something. And I went down to the bead store and I spent the whole check on the beads because I was really into making jewelry and you know, earrings and all kinds of stuff, and Fimo clay. It was really a blast. Good time. Work. You know, when I came in here to make this video, I knew I was going to talk about work, but I guess there were a couple points that I really wanted to cover, and I guess that was it. Just that there's nothing wrong with work itself. Work itself is something that we all need to do, but associating work and job and career are totally different things. If you want to be in retail these days, it's really a pain in the ass. That's why I never wanted to really start a herb business. People asked me for a long time, hey, you should start selling kratom. And I'm like, man, it's just a big mess out there, you know. A big mess on the herb market, and there are so many different products and different qualities, and then the consistency between batches. But beyond all of that, even when you have a good source, then you have to deal with, you know, the marketing, the overhead, the prices for business licenses and websites and all this, and then you have to mark up so you can pay taxes on it, you know. However, I don't say, and I'm not one of the people who says, oh well, shouldn't tax any businesses. I mean, I understand taxes are important, but being part of it is very complicated. It's not something I really enjoy. Being part of the system is a necessary evil, I think. You know, if you can get away with avoiding it, then I commend you, I guess. But I think that, to me, part of integration, integrity, is being part of the system and integrating within the system, making it work for you, but still carrying honesty and values into your work and your life. And I think the more people that do that, the more people will observe that. And that brings us to the most important point, which is to act the way we would like to see others act, and then show our ethics to others. When a person decides to slack because the boss isn't looking, I'm always the guy who keeps working, because I'm not there to work for the boss. I'm there to work for myself. I don't cheat myself. And I think we could do the same thing with all the parts of our lives. Just to be honest, it doesn't matter who's watching. It doesn't matter if you believe anyone's watching, because you're always watching. So doing the best we can and being as fair as we can is all we can do, right? That's my chat.